In today's video, we're going to be checking out the newest update for Mortal Kombat 1 on the Nintendo Switch, and we're going to see how the game performs now when we're talking about the frame rate. Have there been any notable changes thus far, or is it the same old same old? But first, the like button's feeling kinda lonely and would like some attention, so be a dear and hit that real quick. If you're on the Switch playing Mortal Kombat 1 and you want to find more people to play with, I've got a Discord link in the description where you can get together with some more players and get some games in. But in getting back to the video, one of the biggest problems with MK1 on the Switch, as you can see here, was when it launched. Whenever you would call a cameo, the frame rate would have dropped to 30 frames per second. That was improved several updates later, but as of patch 1.25, which just released a few days ago, there does not seem to have been much improvement in that regard since then. As you can see here, calling a single cameo on screen does not drop the frame rate that much anymore. However, it is still the case now that in the event that you and your opponent both happen to call your cameos at the exact same time, the frame rate is going to cut down to 30. Fatal blows, menus, and all cutscenes in general are in 30 frames per second. I do believe this is also the case for the other versions of the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think that's the case. Character models in the character select menu still take about 4 to 5 seconds to show up. Offline matches and local CPUs still perform very well. Again, where things might become an issue is when two cameos are on screen at the same time. There is still the issue sometimes where certain cameos, say like Frost for example, makes the game slow down noticeably. And since we're in training mode still takes a very long time to load. It's very similar to Kombat League, where Kombat League matches take anywhere between 27 to 40 seconds to load. Training mode is somewhere around the latter ballpark of that, which is weird because in training mode there's no dialogue intros. I would think that it would load at least as fast as casual matches, which by the way, and I guess this would be a good segue into how the online performs. Speaking of casual matches take about anywhere between 15 to 25 seconds to load. But as far as the quality of the online goes, like with any online game, it's always going to depend on your connection, your region, your distance from your opponent, etc. MK1 does have rollback netcode even on the Nintendo Switch. Fighting games, as you know, if you've been around on the Switch playing games like Dragon Ball FighterZ, then you know that typically rollback games tend to not have the rollback on the Switch versions, but that's not the case with Mortal Kombat 1. I've had MK1 matches on the Switch that perform very well. I've had matches that perform extremely badly as well. I've had times where, and mind you, this is a very rare occurrence, but it has happened to me, where in some online matches the game felt like it was running on a delay-based netcode connection instead of rollback, which was weird. Most matches played decently though, at least for me, but I've had people who watch my videos say that all of their matches are extremely slow. So, like I said, your experience may vary, and like I said, it depends on a multitude of factors. I'm speaking here of the online connection quality. For me, most matches play like the one that you're watching here. I was recording this one live, so this one was fairly consistent throughout the entire set. You might have a noticeable lag spike here and there, but honestly that's pretty normal for fighting games in general, especially fighting games on the Nintendo Switch when most people on the Switch play online with Wi-Fi. It happened a lot in Dragon Ball FighterZ and Melty Blood Type Lumina and other fighting games that I played on the Switch. Also, there is another issue with the Switch version in that if you're playing online against somebody, they can lag you intentionally very easily by just hitting the start button. So if you're playing somebody and you notice that it starts lagging very conveniently, and that's probably what's going on. But speaking of just the online performance in general, it's a Switch issue. So if you're coming from Xbox Series and PS5 to the Switch, the Mortal Kombat 1 online experience at its best is going to be decent, but it will be noticeably slower than on the other consoles. And what I mean by slower is just everything just moves a tiny little bit slower, and if you've ever played this game on the Xbox or the PlayStation 5, then you know what I mean. Here's a visual representation so that you understand what I'm saying. Here I've got me doing the exact same combo with the same characters on the same stage on the Nintendo Switch, with the side by side of me doing the same stuff on the Xbox Series. Same characters, same combo, same everything. and you can just see the difference for yourself. It just feels so much faster on the other consoles. It was the same thing with Mortal Kombat 11, so don't think that this problem is exclusive to MK1 on the Switch. But unlike Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat 1 also has extra characters in the form of cameos that are always going to be on standby when you're in a match. So I think, this is just me, but I think, and I think it makes sense, but I think if MK11 had cameos, it probably would have the same problems as Mortal Kombat 1.
Accosted by yet another me. How many of us have you met?
If you're new to MK1 on the Switch and you had a few casual matches, you might have noticed that there are no dialogue intros where the characters clash and they say a few snarky lines to each other. They are still in the game, but they're only present in Combat League, Towers, and the Invasions bosses. And since we're in the classic Towers right now, let's see how the final cutscene performs now compared to how it performed on day 1. It did see some big improvements in the latter updates, but this is the most recent patch, and I'm not going to run the entire cutscene here, but it's pretty obvious from what you can see already that it still performs very well now. So at the least, there have not been any regressions in this department. That's going to be it for this video. If you got something from it, you know what to do. Hit the like button and subscribe. I'm going to keep bringing you more combo videos, online matches, and video game news. I'm Switchblade, and I just remembered that we didn't touch on Invasions. Well, there's not really much to say about Invasions. They recycled the first season, and when it comes to the performance, it performs a lot better. Everything is pretty smooth. The loading times are still kind of iffy, but when we talk about things like, you know, those endurance matches where you have to fight like 3 people, things like that still performs pretty slowly. They're still very, not fun. Anyway, I'm Switchblade, done.